Hello, Roxy. Oh, hi. You're a silly thing. Hello, beautiful. I love you. Welcome back to part 2 of the chit chat video. Baron is still down here and Roxy has just joined us. She's been scratching on the door for a bit. If you missed part 1, that was the last video I've posted. I'm filming this right after I filmed part 1, so I haven't read your comments yet. By the time this video goes up, I will have, and I'm sure they've been interesting. In this video, I'll give you an update on our Oregon move, talk about the recession, the impending recession, is that happening, and luxury spending, and we'll talk about fakery, a very hot topic on the YouTubes lately. Fake bags, exposing people, all that great stuff. Is it okay to buy fakes? Who knows? I'll give you my opinion. And dogs. Stay tuned. You stay tuned too. Hi YouTube, Autumn Beckman here. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. My channel is all about luxury living on a budget, from high-end luxury handbags and small goods to the everyday luxuries of life. If that sounds interesting to you, please make sure you subscribe, click the bell notification icon to be notified when I post new videos, and be sure to like the videos that you enjoy. And one of the perks of subscribing to my channel is you get to see my community post on your YouTube homepage, where I post deals, discount codes, sales, and rare finds related to these beautiful things we love. In the previous video, in part 1 of the chit chat, I explained that the reason I'm doing it this way instead of in front of my big bookcases is I'm tired and I didn't have time to fully plan a formal video, so we're just gonna sit down here and converse, and I'll just talk to you, very one-sided conversation, but hopefully I'll hear back from you guys in the chat and get your take on these issues, because I think they are much more suited to conversation than they are just me talking to you. So first, Oregon update. I can't give you too many details yet, but I will say that we are planning to move before the year is up. At least that is the hope. At this point, that's what we're planning on. There are still some things that need to fall into place first. We are planning a trip for a few days this summer to go up and look in different neighborhoods to get a better sense of the neighborhoods around Portland, and to tour some apartment buildings to get a sense of where we might want to live. So if you're up in that Portland area and you have suggestions on neighborhoods or on apartment buildings, it'd be harder for apartment buildings because you don't know our price range and all our requirements, and I don't want to give that in the video. But if you know some places you want to recommend, and if you know of restaurants you want to recommend that we should check out while we're up there, that would be appreciated. All of that would be appreciated. Thank you. Okay, let's start with the recession and the luxury spending stuff. So I've noticed a few things. Since we're planning for this move, I have been looking at job listings and all kinds of areas, and of course we've heard a lot in the news about layoffs from big companies. And I have never studied economics or the economy or business or how any of this works, but I heard from someone who works for a big business, something you've all heard of, that company is doing some layoffs and they are planning for a recession in the fall. And one of the things that is a little confusing to me, and I see this in the stock market as well, is that if you are fearing a recession or you're fearing prices falling, why would you do things that make that stuff happen? Like, why would you lay off a bunch of people, which can help lead to a recession? Why would you sell off all your stocks, which can lead to the prices going down? That just doesn't make sense to me, but clearly a lot of other people hopefully know what they're doing, and I'm just not privy to that because I don't have enough information. I'm hoping some of you guys can explain that to me. That's just something I've been wondering that has nothing, well, it has little to do with handbags. I have noticed too, of course, that for the last 6 months or a year maybe, people don't seem to be spending as much, and we've seen prices of pre-loved handbags, luxury items, we've seen those prices falling. Now, I don't look on Fashion File all that much. I'm on the RealReal every day though, and I have been seeing prices there falling. I find lots of great deals and I post those for you guys in my community posts, so make sure you're subscribed so you can see those. I found things that are just ridiculously cheap. And unfortunately, since we are planning for the move, I'm not spending either. And it's not because of the recession or any kind of economics. It's just because I'm saving for the move, because cross-country move is pretty expensive. So I will say, related to that, it probably won't seem like I've been saving because you're still seeing unboxings every week. But I must confess that those unboxings, most of them anyway, are months old. The recent Louis Vuitton unboxing that I did of the Nano Terrain, that video I filmed almost a year ago. It was last April. And I know some people get upset about that and are disappointed in it, but that's the kind of video that it's a pre-loved bag that's not made anymore, so it can be posted anytime. Like, it doesn't hurt to wait a year on that. But I bought so much last year, I've been spreading it out. I still have some Hermes videos, unboxings that I filmed about a year ago that I haven't posted yet. So if you see unboxings for me and you're like, wait a minute, I thought she said she was saving, but here she is buying stuff, that's the explanation for that. Now, I did just buy a piece from the Kusama collection from Louis Vuitton. Relatively inexpensive as Louis Vuitton prices go, luxury prices. So that will be a new unboxing, but that's pretty much the only one. Otherwise, I haven't bought anything in a while. I'm curious how you guys are handling all this with the economy. And I know, first of all, let's acknowledge that this economy thing is not just an American thing. This is happening in lots of countries around the world, and it still has a lot to do with COVID, which seems to some of us like it was a long time ago, but really it's not, and we're definitely still feeling effects from it. And I just wanted to acknowledge that because there are so many things in American politics. People tend to blame whatever administration is currently in power, or sometimes even the previous administration, for things that are going on now. When those things, sure, they may be affected by some government stuff, some decisions of whatever administration, but generally they are connected much more deeply to things that have nothing to do with the administration. Whichever side you're on, this happens on both sides. And they tend to forget that the same things happening in our country often are happening in the rest of the world as well. So that makes it even make less sense to blame it on an administration. But anyway, that's a bit off topic. So luxury spending, what are you doing these days with that? Are you good and you're spending like normal? Are you taking advantage of all the really low prices right now in the pre-loved market? Now, the new market certainly is not price friendly, budget friendly, never really has been, but the prices are skyrocketing. That's not usually something I talk about. I don't make videos about price increases. I'm somebody who agrees with Dale of Dale's Addiction on this. They're always going to raise prices no matter what's going on in the world, because that's what they do. They can, and as long as they can, they will. So, like, why is it news that they're raising prices? Why do people keep making videos about that when it happens every few months? Like, we should expect this. It shouldn't be surprising. They are in business to make profit. If you don't like it, don't buy from them. So there's that. And do you think we're headed for a recession? If you know more about that than I do, because I don't, what do you think about that? What is that going to look like for you? Are you planning for that? Are you trying to prepare your finances for it, or other things? What are you doing in terms of work to prepare for it? Do you think that your job is safe? Do you think you may find yourself being laid off and needing to look for a job? If so, would you stay in the same career path, or would you move to something else? And if you're thinking about that, are you starting to plan for something else? Are you starting to learn new skills or get your resume together or anything like that? Those are things I've definitely been thinking about because we're moving. But as I've been doing that, it's a pretty bad time to be looking for a job, but it's going to be required if I'm moving to a different state, a different city. So I have a lot of things going around in my head regarding things I could do, and I've been doing a lot of preparation for that, which is one of the reasons I'm so tired and sitting here instead of standing in front of my bookcases. But that is a conversation for another time. Let's move on to fakery. I had planned to do a whole video on this. That's what today's video was going to be, all about this topic. And I've been working on this for a couple weeks, and I still just don't have it all down. Like, I wanted to have something really nicely laid out and do all this research, and it just hasn't come together the way I want it to. So I'm just going to talk about what I remember about my sort of bullet points and some of the ideas that I had on this, get your opinion on it. So this has been a hot topic on YouTube, people talking about whether it's okay to buy fakes. Now this, and of course we're talking about luxury handbags here, this is a topic that's been around forever because fakes have been around forever. I mean, Louis Vuitton's original trunks were faked, right? That's where we got the monogram print to try to stave off the fakers, the counterfeits. And I think this conversation came up and got big again because of Dial M Styles' video that she did. I will link it below. It's about wealthy women buying fakes, so they can afford the real thing, but they choose to buy fakes instead, which is a really interesting concept. That's something we've heard about before. I think most of us know that that has gone on, but there was an article written about it that she talked about in her video, and that video did very well for her, which I'm happy for her about. And it got me thinking about this, and then I started seeing other people talk about this topic, and they also brought up that Instagram account that I don't remember the name of right now. What is it called? I don't remember. If I can find it, I'll link that below too. But it's these people that are calling out people on social media who they say are carrying fake Hermes bags. And very often when I see videos that talk about fakes, and especially when they're anti-fake, and this Instagram account in particular, and comments on social media that are vehemently anti-fake, what I look for to justify the reasons that they tend to give is sources to back up what they're saying, because they're making claims such as fakes support terrorism. If you buy a fake, you are supporting terrorism, or they support child labor, or they support various kinds of slavery. And inevitably, the only source that people ever seem to give is this TED Talk video where this guy is talking about his experiences with counterfeiters, working with counterfeiters and like busting them. And he says in the video that counterfeits support terrorism and lots of other types of crime. What he doesn't tell you in the video, and this is partly because TED Talks are a limited amount of time, he doesn't have time to tell you everything that he would need to tell you, is that he doesn't work for like the FBI or anything. He works for Tommy Hilfiger. He's a security person for them. So it is in his interest, as part of his job, to dissuade people from buying fakes and to give them reason not to. Now, I am not saying that anything he's saying is not true, but what I am saying is in that video, he doesn't give any proof. And all these other people that comment and use that video as a source, nobody shows proof. Now, I have done some more research since then for this video that I was going to talk about this on, and I did find other documents that provided more information that was more like proof, the kind of proof I'm looking for. Not just taking somebody's word for it, not just, oh, he said this, so that must be true, but having actual evidence for it. If you go read the comments on those TED Talk videos, you'll see a lot of people poking holes in what he's saying. And I've brought this topic up before, that video doesn't provide evidence. It's a long time ago that I talked about this. And I find when I have talked about it before and in the comment section of these videos, anytime anyone brings up this point that he's not providing evidence for these claims, or other people who say this don't provide evidence, they act like there's something wrong with wanting evidence, and there's not. You should question everything, even information like this. You shouldn't just take people's word for it. You should get evidence. You should know what a reliable source is, what reliable information is, what valid information is. That's a good thing. So the main point I want to get across here is that, again, I'm not saying that people who make those claims are wrong. I just wish people would give more evidence and cite other sources besides this TED Talk. I also want to say, and I touched on this in my previous chit chat video, part 1, that there's a lot of like bullying behavior when it comes to this. Dale's Addiction has a fantastic video. I'm going to link hers below. Hers is actually the one that inspired me to want to talk about this topic, because she polled her audience and got information from them on whether they've purchased fakes. If they haven't, why not? If they have, why they did, and some of their thoughts around fakes. And I just found it fascinating. Some of the different reasons people give for not buying them or for buying them. And then she discusses those and gives her opinion on them. And I think people on both sides have really good points. And I can understand why people make decisions on either side. But I think if you are going to call people out for buying what you are exposing as fake bags, that one, you need proof that the bag is fake if you're trying to expose people, which this Instagram account, now I haven't seen every post they put up, but when they were about a week old, I looked through a lot of what they had posted, and there was almost never any kind of proof or evidence or even discussion about why some of the images they were posting were being exposed as fake. And a lot of the images that they were saying were fake bags The bag's like this tiny in a big picture in the background somewhere, and you can't even see details on the bag. And I think if you're going to behave the way that they're behaving on this account, that you have the responsibility to back up what you're saying with evidence that you are providing to the audience. I also think there are a lot of people who are anti-fake. Again, I think any of these ideas that I've heard about why people are pro or anti-fake are reasonable. But I think if you're anti-fake and you choose to go around bullying other people, and especially if you're an adult choosing to do this, bullying people for their decisions that may be different from yours, and you're making claims of you're a terrible person because you're buying fakes because you're supporting terrorism or slavery of some sort or child labor, whatever your reasoning is, that you need to provide evidence of that. I also think it's incredibly immature for adults to behave that way, to go around bullying other people because of handbag decisions. And I know in this case it's not about the handbag decision, it's about what is perceived as supporting something else, something which is nefarious, and that if people knew they were directly supporting that, most people wouldn't, right? And that's part of the thing with this fakes industry, is people don't feel like they're supporting that it seems like a harmless thing to buy. But then once you do learn that there is possibly this connection, because I certainly don't believe that it's the case in every fake that you would find, but I think it makes sense that it would be true in some cases. But it seems like a victimless crime, right? But if you knew for certain that your bag was being made by a child in terrible conditions, or that the money was going to support terrorism, most of us wouldn't buy that. So I think basically, if I can boil it down, what I'm saying is, if you're going to make a claim, support it with evidence. And 2, don't bully other people. Grow up. Be an educator instead of a bully. I feel like I probably didn't do the best job of explaining that, and that's why I hadn't sat down to do like a formal video about it, because I still don't have my thoughts fully formed on it. But I think I did get out my main points, so I would love to hear what you think about it, about any of what we talked about today, which was what? Oregon update, recession and luxury spending, and all the fakery. Can't wait to hear your comments in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Hope to see you back here next time, and I hope you have a fantastic day. And I'll give you a little peek down here at the Roxy, who is licking her brother, the Baron. There she goes again.